to another edition of the Cavalier Family Show. Today's show is actually going to be the year of 1993. So if you're a big fan of the 90s, then this show is exactly for you. This year was actually asked to do by, of course, what we always ask everybody who watches the show is to leave a comment below to let us know what year you want us to cover. And this year was actually requested. So with this show, some of you already know, but we are an independent studio. And on this show, we will be discussing live entertainment from the big screen, movies down to our favorite independent films, TV shows, cartoons, and video games. First off, though, we do have some people to thank. Obviously, this show cannot really be what it is without some of the key players. Obviously, there's Kevin Holmes, who did a lot of the intro and the outro video. You do have Mr. Justin Dye, who is, of course, joining us again today, who's created a lot of the musical elements for us and the sound effects and everything, as well as our new researcher, Stephen Dawson. He will be on the show in the near future as well. I gave him the subject of choosing his own year and to surprise me with it. So we'll see what we, come up with or what he comes up with. The other thing too is we do want to give a shout out to Lee, of course, one of our co-hosts here. We miss him, but we do understand that, got to pay the bills, right? So with the job and location, do understand he's working crazy hours right now, especially during the holidays. So, just give him his love, leave a comment below, show him how much you guys miss him, hit that like button as well, see how many we can get, and then he'll definitely feel the love. As of right now, there are no updates because of the holidays as far as filming or anything goes like that, mainly because, we postponed a little bit, and only because of the fact that a lot of people are traveling, want to make sure that they get to their destination safely. So really the only thing that we would like to bring up is what we always bring up, and that is our merchandise store. Our merchandise store link can be found in the description below. That is actually where you're going to find a lot of the shirts, the coffee mugs, the sweaters and sweatpants, blankets, and a whole lot more as well. The shirt that I'm wearing currently right now, right here, it's actually one that is in the store right now that you can actually get your hands on. And it's very comfy. The fabric is amazing. It is from Teespring directly. They do an amazing work, an amazing job. And as you can see, it's very much 90s theme based. So get yours in the store. Again, the link is in the description. All the proceeds go towards the profits for filming, for renting equipment, for the show that you see here today, as well as hopefully, definitely want to get back on that podcast level as well. So go ahead, visit the store, check it out. You don't have to buy a shirt if you don't want to. Anything that you purchase is greatly appreciated, even if it is a sticker. So go ahead and do that. And for the holidays as well, as we are doing a promotion piece as well, just type in holiday cav, that is HOLIDAYCAV, for 15% off on your entire purchase. So go ahead and do that. And it's only until the holidays. The holidays in general are over. So all the way until January 2nd is when you'll actually have that promotional piece going on there. So again, it saves you 15% off of your actual entire purchase. And of course, with that, got that out of the way, got the information out of the way. I know Justin is kind of probably really tired of me talking right now. So just want to take it over to him. And how are you doing today, sir?
Doing all right, man. Just been catching up from, as you know, coming back from vacation, trying to get life back in order again. I was away over at your neck of the woods for 5 days. Left on Thanksgiving, came back a couple days ago, went straight to work, and this is pretty much my first day off since being back. So I just spent the day doing laundry, doing adult stuff, a lot of boring stuff, and I played around a little bit with my my keyboard and did some demoing for my new EP. And yeah, man, just keeping busy with music, work, and a little bit of play with vacation.
And that EP is going to be different than the last one. You were telling me that you're going to actually be singing on this one.
Yeah, it's so not a lot of people realize because I've shifted my music throughout the years, and I used to go by my full name as my music moniker, and I kind of rebirthed myself as an electronic musician after many years of like John Mayer type stuff. So I now go by To the Stars We Return, as you know, and I recently released my first album under To the Stars We Return, and this album here is going to be completely different than the last. There's going to be vocals. The only album I've released under To the Stars We Return so far, it was all musical, because it's a 3-part movie soundtrack that I've created to a movie that isn't an actual movie. So it sounds pretentious as hell, but it's this next one is kind of delving back into like my singer-songwriter stuff, but incorporating like the electronic element to it. So I'm leaning towards a very Depeche Mode, early 80s new wave, New Order, early 80s Bowie type stuff for this album. And it's I'm shooting to get it released on Valentine's Day, just for the sheer ironic factor that it's a breakup album, and it's the day of love. So yeah, and as we were talking about off air earlier, I'm going to try and get my physical album for the first album released with that. That's the game plan and hope anyway. So I'll have an EP and a physical release of my first album, hopefully out on the same day.
That sounds great. The one thing I will catch you off guard though, and it's only because I saw this on social media and I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want to give you enough time to actually think on what you're going to say. But I noticed on Facebook, you stated that you watched 8-Bit Christmas.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
So again, I didn't want like you to think about it all day. Like, what am I going to say?
Sure.
So right off the bat, go. What is
okay.
your take on it?
Okay, so I have a hot take on it, in a sense that in my community with music, in the synthwave community, people are very opinionated on certain things, and most of my synthwave family and friends that I have on social media hated this movie. Hated it. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and it's the reason that the synthwave community hates it is a dumb reason, I think. And again, I'm not trying to the music, the soundtrack. People are saying that it's a missed opportunity because you could have had there's a subgenre in synthwave called chiptune, and chiptune incorporates a lot of sound like 8-bit sounds from like Nintendo and things like that.
Yeah.
So people in the community are like, this was their chance to really highlight some chiptune artists and things like that, which it's such a small niche genre that Hollywood's not going to know what the hell chiptune is. So I can't fault them for that fact that, there's not these really small subgenre music in their soundtrack. But I think they could have incorporated more 80s music into the soundtrack itself. There was a couple here and there, but I liked it. I think they nailed a lot of the 80s, and like they nailed a lot of like how it was growing up, and the satanic panic of Nintendo. And I remember well, man, like parents saying to their kids, it's gonna melt your brain, or you're not gonna go outside. The people worried about your kids going outside and playing and getting fresh air and getting exercise and all that kind of stuff. So I think they really nailed that aspect. I actually got quite emotional with the movie as well, because I'm sure I think you saw on my Facebook post, I mentioned like when I was a kid, it was like our generation's Sandlot almost, because if you think about Sandlot, it was a movie that was about a parent telling his kid about when he was a kid and the things that they used to do and what they were really into, and all the trouble they got into based on their interests. Where my dad really enjoyed that movie and taking me to the movies to see it, because it really brought up that nostalgia of that time frame for him when he was a kid, and it
Mhm.
like brought back memories and things that they used to do, like go to the fair and secretly grab somebody's chewing tobacco and puking all over the place, swooning over the lifeguards at the gym, things like that. Like that was, now this movie is happening for the 80s, what that
Mhm.
did for like the 50s for my dad. So now it's like we're the generation now showing our kids, this is what it was like being in
Yeah.
the 80s, and this is the stuff that we were into, and all the craziness that ensued because of the things that we were into. And yeah, I enjoyed it, man. It wasn't without its faults. It wasn't as funny as I thought it was going to be. Um, but I thought everyone did a great job with their roles. Like, I usually don't like Steve Zahn. I think he's like a B leaguer when it comes to movies and acting.
Yeah.
But I think he did a great job. The kids were awesome. Like, the kids did really well. Yeah, I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it for what it was, and it brought back some fond memories for me.
Yeah. Like, so when you mentioned that a lot of people didn't quite like it, and you loved it, I was on the border spectrum. Um, Only because of the fact that I guess I was expecting a little more to it. Because you brought up Sandlot, and the way that I interpreted it, but also kind of wanted it to be, is like a Christmas story, just video game based. And to me, it didn't feel that way. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Neil Patrick Harris as like an actor, and like he seems like a really cool guy in real life. I mean, he loves his kids, so I love that. And when you mentioned about the actor, like, yeah, I mean, the last time I knew him was, what was it? Uh National Treasure, I think it was. The Disney movie with Nicolas Cage, I think was,
Yeah.
if that's the same actor, or no, I'm sorry, Sahara. Sahara was the movie.
Oh yeah, Sahara, Daddy Daycare.
Yeah, Daddy Daycare as well. Like, I think I was expecting a lot more than what I got. I don't know. There was just something that didn't click for me, anyways. To be like, I gotcha. Now you're going to absolutely love this movie type aspect. Like,
Yeah.
I can definitely relate to wanting a Nintendo, playing a Nintendo, and what you're saying, and is the fact that it's our generation to explain to our kids like the toys and the stuff that we grew up on and everything of that nature. Um, but I don't know, man. Like, there's just something about it that just didn't quite click with me. Like, I'm glad that I watched it. Don't get me wrong. To me, it's definitely not one that I would pay to the theaters to go see. And I feel like a lot of these movies, like this one, um, or the other movie with Chris Pratt, the one that was on Amazon, Future War, I think it was. Like, I wouldn't go to the theater to watch those movies. So I think like the streaming services have a good ability to have those types of movies here.
Hmm.
um, but it's not a Christmas movie that I'll jump to next year to watch, or anything of that nature.
I agree with that. I
Like
agree with that.
the kids, yes, I agree. Like, the kids did great. I got a little pissed off with the whole factor of, and I guess it's true too, because like some parents would do this where, it's the video game's fault that the TV crushed my dog. No, it was your bratty son that you raised that
Yeah,
kicked the TV, and the TV
dude,
fell over.
I knew families like that when I was growing up, where the kid could do no wrong and it was everybody else's fault, or
Hmm.
um, so that's what kind of like made me laugh about that whole scenario. But yeah, I feel you on that. Like, it's not a repeat view by any means. It's not an instant classic. Um, I think like for the hour and 40 minutes or whatever it was, like, I enjoyed it. And but it wasn't, it's not going to be a go-to every year for me, or by any means.
And see, it could also be a movie that grows. It grows on people too, because like you have those movies as well. Like you loved it, and I'm not going to take like any negativity to take that away from you either, because like number one, that's not how the show works.
Right.
Number two, like you saw something in that movie that just if I'm using this word correctly, perpetuated the emotions out of you. And that's what movies are supposed to do. That's what music is supposed to do. That's what art is supposed to do. And being able to do that for you just brings that drive even farther, to the point where, you know, it goes back to what I always say. Like, if you want to create art, all you need is that one fan that loves their piece of work. You can do a macaroni glue to like a piece of paper, kindergarten type of artwork. If you do it right, and people have done it right, all you need is that one person to absolutely love it, to touch them in a certain way that it brings out some sort of emotion, makes them want to buy it, and it could be inspiring to others. And then they'll show their friends, they'll show their family. And then sooner or later, then you have this piece of art where you have this skill set that, you know, you're like, you know what, I'm just going to go and try it. And then it
Yep.
works out perfectly for you. Like, this movie is definitely something that can grow on people. Absolutely. Like, you never know. Like, I could watch it again and it grows on me because of specifically that last scene that I was not expecting.
Same.
Like
Yeah.
that. Um, and like, obviously not going to say anything just in case, you know, it's the holidays, don't want any spoilers, but like the end sequence when everyone's at the dinner table, or the last sequence of when the father tells him to go pick up the poop behind the shed, like that, it has a strong and significant, especially to this day, a significant message.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for me, I got kind of emotional with that whole part. Again, tap dancing around any spoilers or anything like that. But I got emotional with that part. And I got emotional with the movie overall because, you know, my memory of childhood is playing Nintendo with my brother.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, as you know, and I'm sure not a lot of listeners know, but you know, my brother passed away from leukemia when he was 10 years old. So
Mm-hmm.
the only memories I really have of my brother is him and I like sitting in front of an old TV and playing Nintendo together. So, you know, as you said, there's going to be people that it strikes a chord with just
Mm-hmm.
on, you know, the topic alone. And I was worried about how they were going to handle it and portray everything just solely based on the fact that, you know, I have these fond memories. So I hope they did them justice. I know that sounds
Yeah.
selfish, but it's like, you know, I hope that I enjoy this movie because I have so many fond memories. So that's kind of what I pulled from it, and that's probably why I enjoy it more than, you know, you may have enjoyed it, is just because of how important like that whole era is to me personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and see, like that movie too, it goes in a way that, you know, you don't really expect either, because I mean, this is a spoiler. I'm just going to say it out front. So you have 3, 2, 1 to escape. So 3, 2, 1, he doesn't get it, and that's something that you don't see in the movies,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
what I enjoyed too.
Same. I kept waiting, dude. Like every time throughout the movie, I was like, oh, he's finally got it. And then, you know, boom, ran over by a bus. You know, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, you're like, okay, well, here comes the cliche. He got it for Christmas anyway, you know, kind of
Yep.
thing, like the Red Ryder BB gun, you know, sort
Mm-hmm.
of situation. I was waiting for that, and then it didn't happen. And then I was impressed with that, and I was impressed with the message as well. Like David Cross talking to that kid, the main kid, really was a deep scene
Oh,
where
absolutely.
he was like, oh, so you're gonna get, you have one of, you know, you have a Nintendo, you're gonna give me one? No. Well, why not? You're not gonna get what you want for Christmas. Suck it
Mm-hmm.
up. That's not what Christmas is all about. You know,
Exactly.
that's that I like that message, and I like that he didn't end up getting it. And then the way that he ended up getting it was working hard for what he wanted.
Yep.
Even as a kid,
Exactly.
like he, you know, like the last part where he's like, you know, I did end up getting the Nintendo, but I didn't get it as a gift. I worked hard for it, and then I got it with my own money. I'm like, that's a baller lesson for some kids watching this show, man.
It really is. And like it goes back to that whole message. Like technology is great because we have this, what you and I are doing right now. We have the high quality mic that I'm using now that I was able to get on Black Friday. Like, and then you have all the technology for your music and stuff like that. Like technology is fantastic. But going back to like a lot of our conversations where it's, riding a bike and it's falling down, or having that, that tree house, or creating a fort, like those are memories that, yeah, technology can create, but you're going to have a smaller emotional attachment to that memory, I feel.
Yeah.
With technology.
Yeah, it's nothing that you're going to take with you into the next life. Like if you think about it on a deeper level with this movie, everything that they did leading up to trying to get the Nintendo is the story, is the meat and potatoes of them experiencing their childhood, is all the misadventures of trying to get this product. There's nothing in the story at all about him playing the damn thing. It's just, this is how we tried to get a Nintendo, and then that ended up being this adventure. It's the again, it goes back to the age-old saying of, it's not the destination, man, it's like how you get there,
the journey.
And that's exactly, I feel, the message that came across in this movie is like all the exciting, again, meat and potatoes of the story he was telling his daughter was how they tried to get that piece of technology, not the stories that were made playing with the technology.
Yeah, exactly. And by talking about this now, by being able to talk about it with you, it got up a couple of notches now, officially. Now I'm not so much like, oh no, I don't like it, or I love it. And like being in that middle, it's like, okay, I appreciate it a little bit more, just because the whole point, talking about the movie that we both saw, that I caught you off guard about asking you, and just that raw feeling about a movie that you recently saw and what you actually feel about it. And with that, now we actually go into a segment where we actually go back in time, and during the back in time, we don't have to deal with COVID and all that crap. We don't have to deal with a political divide like how there is now. We are going back to the 90s, where there is actual fashion back then, like how Mr. Vanilla Ice said, like without internet there was fashion, and that's where you get nostalgia. We go back in time to the year 1993. Justin, are you ready to go jump back in time to relive some of the nostalgia?
I sure am.
All right, my friend. Well, let's do it. Let's jump back in time to the year 1993. And with that, some of you may know, some of you may not know, and some of you may be new to the show. This is the time where we jump back in time to 1993, and we talk about the top 5 TV shows, cartoons, toys, movies, and also music. Everything here we do have laid out as far as the sources go. Some of you may be thinking, okay, you got the source from there. Okay, well, you know what? You try doing the research and try to figure this stuff out. There is a lot of research, a lot of skeptical as far as information out there and what you find versus what you find on a different website and what you find on a different website. So, we didn't want to flip through Google page 2, page 3, because if you do that, then that's basically going into the abyss. Nobody goes past page 1. So that's where we're starting. We are starting at top TV shows, top 5. Now, Justin, did you want to go or you want me to go?
Go for it, man. You can roll with it this time.
All right, let's go ahead and roll that dice. And top 5 TV shows of this week, year 1993. Of course, there's that website that a lot of people are going to say, Really? Well, again, do the research yourself. Is Wikipedia. And number one comes with 60 Minutes. Again, in the previous conversations, 60 Minutes, yeah, it can be taken as like an interview, but it's also a TV show too. I mean, just like football, just like, any other sports entertainment that's out there. Is it a sports? Yes. Can it be categorized as a TV show? Still, yes. Number two is actually a TV show that I grew up with. Still love to this day. Still love the main actor who played in it. Home Improvement was number two. Number three, I didn't actually watch a lot, and that's Seinfeld. Number four, Roseanne. Roseanne's on the top charts again, and then number five is Grace Under Fire. Again, going back to the Home Improvement, that is probably the only real TV show that I watched the most of. I mean, Tim Allen will always have a special place in my heart, only because of the fact that a lot of the stuff growing up with my dad was all Tim Allen based. Although the comedy stuff, though, that wasn't until I got older. A lot of the cleaner comedy that he did, I would watch, but as far as the dirty stuff, that wasn't until I got older.
Yeah, I've pretty much watched all of them except Grace Under Fire. I mean, I used to watch 60 Minutes with my dad. He was really into that, and Home Improvement, man, all the time. Like there's that is probably peak 90s for me is Home Improvement.
Yeah.
Seinfeld, I got into in my, I'd say mid-teens, later teens. Never really like huge fan of it, but I enjoyed it when it was on. I never seeked it out, but I'd watch it if I found it. I was a pretty decent fan of Roseanne. And then Grace Under Fire, I remember seeing a couple episodes of it here and there, but it didn't really like take off with me or interest me as a kid.
What do you remember what it was about?
All I remember is there was a blonde lady, and I think she worked at a newspaper. If my memory serves me correct. I forgot her name in real life. She had a man's name in real life. But it was more kind of adult humor, I think, like something that 11-year-old me wouldn't really understand.
Right. Well, I mean, makes sense. Friends came out in the 90s, and I didn't really watch a lot of it, and a lot of the stuff went over my head too. So that's understandable, because you don't really.
I think that's why I think that's why Home Improvement and Roseanne really took off for me when I was back in '93, because it had its adult storylines, but it also had its storylines with the kids in it. So it was good for the whole family. So out of those 5 shows, that would be the 2 that really interested me. 11-year-old me, anyway.
Right. All right, my friend, we're ready to hit up the top cartoons.
Yeah, and oh man, this is a good list.
It is a good list.
This is glorious. So top cartoons, again, according to Wikipedia, we've got The Simpsons. Man, The Simpsons, that's the longest running TV show in history right now, is The Simpsons. Still on to this day. It's amazing, man. Next, Beavis and Butthead premiered in 1993. And man, do I ever remember watching that on MTV. And my parents telling me I can't watch it, but I was upstairs watching it all the time, man. And we've got Animaniacs, which premiered that year, and it's back again with new episodes. We've got Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. That was like a really cool Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, it was.
Then we go to my favorite, and this is still my favorite cartoon to this day, man. Rocko's Modern Life.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely love everything about Rocko's Modern Life. And a fun fact about Rocko's Modern Life that not a lot of people know is Heifer, the cow in Rocko's Modern Life, is voiced by Tom Kenny, who also voices SpongeBob SquarePants.
Really?
Yeah, same guy. And just a quick side story here. So I work as a box office manager at a concert venue. And one day when I was in Atlanta, I used to live in Atlanta before Philly, I get an email late at night at about 3 in the morning. And this email says VIP, very important. So I open it up. I'm a insomniac, so I'm checking my work email at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I get this email, VIP, please read. So I open it up, and it's someone's manager saying, "Hi, I am a manager for an actor in Los Angeles. He will be arriving to Atlanta to sign autographs and perform with his band at Dragon Con, which was a big like MegaCon type thing in Atlanta. He would like to see this jazz artist we had coming to my venue called Bobby Rush. He's a huge Bobby Rush fan, but he's going to be coming with a large group. Is there any kind of discounts that we can get?" So I'm sitting here like, sure, give him a group discount, and we got that all taken care of. And he's like, "All right, cool, thanks. We'll see you on this night," and he will come in and pay for it. Again, I had no idea who this guy was going to be, but I knew he was big enough to sign autographs at Dragon Con, and it said VIP, so I was kind of excited to see who it was. So night of the show, I'm looking all around, seeing if I recognize anybody coming through the doors. The next thing you know, I'm at the register, ringing up a couple people, and then right behind the person that I'm ringing up, I peek around the corner, and there's Tom Kenny, voice of SpongeBob SquarePants and Heifer, standing. And the only reason I know what he looks like is because of SpongeBob SquarePants, because he does. There's like live segments sometimes where there's this character named Patchy the Pirate, and he also plays Patchy the Pirate. So I knew who he was. So he came up. I gave him his discount and everything. He was really appreciative. After the show, he comes back out, we take a picture together and stuff like that. And he's like, "Hey man, I want to return the favor for what you did to me, or did for me. I'm going to be at Dragon Con tomorrow. I'm playing with my band," which I had no idea he had a band. He's like, "I'm playing with my band at the after party. So show up tomorrow. And, here's the number of my manager, and we'll get you in." So I'm like, "Cool, awesome. That's rad." So, and he, gave me and my ex-wife passes to get in. So we show up the next day, and the manager comes out, and he's like, "Okay, so we're going to give you these passes, and you guys have to kind of like pretend you're these people, because we don't have spare passes, and these two people aren't showing up anymore. So we're just giving you their passes." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I get my pass, and I look at my pass, and you may have to look up who this is, but I can guarantee you when I tell you that I look nothing like this person. It is a old school funk legend named Bootsy Collins. He is a good friend, apparently, of Tom Kenny, and I had to pretend, wearing this badge, that I was the one and only Bootsy Collins. He is a very flashy African-American man.
Yeah, I'm looking at him right now.
Nothing like me.
No. No.
So I'm walking around this con, acting like Bootsy Collins all night, trying to blend in and wearing his badge. And then I got to go see his show. He invited me back to his after party at the hotel afterwards. Sat there and drank a couple beers of SpongeBob, and the rest is history. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, crazy story, man. But yeah, Rocko's Modern Life, good show. And then last on the list, sadly, I have no amazing stories about this show, but VeggieTales premiered. So that is your list.
See, VeggieTales I grew up with a lot. Growing up, kind of conservative Catholic family wise, like, there's.
I was gonna say it's a religious show, right?
Yeah, it is, or it was, and then it got bought out by a different company, and it's less on that spectrum now, as it is more morals. So it has good quality in there, but it is less religious. But I mean, VeggieTales specifically, it was great. Larry was always my favorite. Simpsons, obviously, it's The Simpsons. Still love The Simpsons. Beavis and Butthead, I still love Beavis and Butthead. As dirty as that show is, and as much as my wife hates it, Dude,
The
I
show,
watched
the movie's great too.
I watched the movie like a month ago because it was on, I think, Amazon Prime or something like that. And it still holds up. Like
Oh
Mike
yeah,
Judge did a great job.
yeah,
I mean, if you think about it, Mike Judge, Idiocracy, King of the Hill, Beavis and Butthead, great stuff. Animaniacs, of course, I loved Animaniacs growing up. Um, because part of Animaniacs was Pinky and the Brain as well. Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Um, I watched a few episodes, but mainly with that one, it came with my daughter.
excuse me.
Bless you. It
Thank
came
you.
with my daughter, who I tried to show the actual cartoon with, and she could care less. Like, put her into the new My Little Ponies movie on Netflix, and she's good to go. Like, she doesn't,
Nice.
because there's singing to it, and Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog has no singing.
Fair.
So, and then Rocco's Modern Life, it wasn't one of those shows where, like, Ren and Stimpy, where, again, growing up in a conservative manner, Catholic and stuff like that, where I wasn't really allowed to watch Ren and Stimpy. I got more of a kind of look when my
Yeah.
parents found out that I watched Ren and Stimpy versus Rocco's Modern Life. Like, with Rocco's, like, you had the old, all right. And then with Ren and Stimpy, it's like,
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Rocco was a bit more like low key with their adult humor. Like it
Yeah.
would be the humor's there, but kids wouldn't understand it. Where like, Ren and Stimpy is just it's in your face. Like
Mhm.
Rocco's Modern Life, the restaurant's name was Choky Chicken. As an adult, that's friggin' hilarious. As a kid, you don't know what that means, man.
Right.
And then I remember seeing an episode recently. I was like rewatching Rocco's Modern Life, and there's an episode where Rocco's going through all these different odd jobs, and there's one scene where he's on a phone, and he just goes, "Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby," and then like there's a sign behind him that says like "Be sexy," like these like 3 rules. And basically come to find out that he was a phone sex operator.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that as a kid you never picked up on,
Yeah.
but looking at it now, it's like, oh man, that's
It's a
that's
little
pretty.
raunchy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I guess that was good during that time too, because of the fact that you could get away with that stuff a little bit more than you can now. Um, Only because kids are so subjected to so many other things nowadays that and even in school, like, I feel like in school, in public school now, it it's taken a turn than when we used to be in public school, where with the internet things grew, like, resources to certain things have grown. um so kids nowadays, they don't have the, I guess, adult innocence to them in a way, because they're so, I guess, numb to this in a way, because of
Yeah,
the sources that they have versus what we did. We didn't really have internet, so stuff like this would go over our head because we
yeah,
wouldn't understand it.
yeah. The only source of information we had was our parents, and they wouldn't tell us what any of this stuff meant.
Exactly. Just like the whole that whole scene that you were talking about, just like Rugrats, when the grandfather was watching the kids, and he puts on what was it, Space Vixens from Venus or whatever. Like that, we would never understand.
Yeah,
We would just think, oh, he's just watching a movie that he wanted. Oh, he ended up passing out. But like, as a parent, you're like, see what they did there.
yeah,
Good job, Nickelodeon. Good job.
right. Yeah, they put those in to entertain the parents that had to watch
Oh,
those shows with the
absolutely.
kids. It's like a wink at the parents, and like you said, nowadays there's just so much information out there that is available to kids that you can't get over kids' heads these days.
Mm-mm. No, I mean, even like seldom stuff as jokes, like, would go over, kids' heads. Like, for an example, I'll go take it to SpongeBob with the actor. Um, SpongeBob, there's an episode where they have this balloon and the balloon pops, and SpongeBob gathers the balloon and he starts carrying it, and like SpongeBob goes, "I have the balloon," and then the next thing you see is Patrick goes, "I have the air." it's such a dumb joke, but a kid wouldn't understand that, but like an adult would.
Yeah.
Because like you look at them and you're like, what?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
one of
and
those. Yeah.
SpongeBob has one of those adult humor scenes though, where it's a very early episode though, when I think first 2 seasons he's watching a sea anemone on TV, and the sea anemone is just like floating like this, and you can see him like getting all like up in the TV, like all excited and into it. And then all of a sudden Gary comes up behind him and meows, and then he like flips the TV off real quick, and he's like, "Ah, Gary!" Like it was like he was watching something he wasn't supposed to be watching, and he was like, caught watching it by Gary.
It's great. I can't wait to see what cartoons that can catch and when my daughter gets older. I'll just
True.
text you or like rewind the scene, like, look at this.
Yeah, check this out.
Check this out. She never knew what was coming.
Yeah. I doubt we'll find any of that on like Bluey and shows like that.
Dude, no. There is a sequence in Bluey. So my wife pointed it out to me. So in Bluey, there, of course, you have the two sisters, right? Bluey is the oldest sister. They have a friend coming over, and it starts off with a friend in the car, and the friend and her dad were having a conversation, and it got on the subject of how her friend was special. Like, for every parent, their kid is special. They love them, blah, blah, blah. And the daughter goes, "Daddy, am I special?" And he's like, "Yes, absolutely. You are so special." So throughout the whole episode, she is a brat to Bluey and her sister, to the point where like she'll take toys away, she'll do whatever she can to be a brat. And the main thing that she'll say is, "Oh, I could do this because I'm special. My daddy thinks I'm special. I'm better than you. I'm special." That type of mentality. And so Bluey and her sister goes to their parents, and they're saying, so and so's not playing right. They're being mean. They keep on saying that they're special. And then as soon as they said that, the dad who was talking to the parent, like his eyes go, "Oh," like it clicked for him that she's being a brat because of the fact that he told her that she was special. So he goes over to his daughter, and he gets on his knees, puts his hand on her shoulder, and he's like, so and so, how I said that you're special. And she goes, yeah, daddy. And point blank, he's like, "Well, say your name's Janice. Janice, you're not actually special."
Oh, no.
And she goes, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah, honey, like you're special to mommy and I because you're a daughter, but you're actually not special." And then she runs off to Bluey and Bluey's sister, and then she goes, "Yay, I'm not special." Like she's excited for not being special. And then the rest of the episode, she is like sharing toys, she's having fun with Bluey. But it's just that sequence where it's like point blank and
You're not
blunt,
special.
where it's like, you're not special.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
And then
That's brutal.
And then there's another sequence in Bluey actually, where the dad is trying to unplug the toilet, and it's the very first sequence in the show. And as he's trying to unplug the toilet, like he's laying down next to the toilet because he's exhausted at this point. And he's like, "Man, what are these kids eating?" So there's stuff in Bluey too that's actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
So if I ever come across those while she's watching them, I'll send you them. But
Yeah, absolutely.
But with that, we'll go ahead and transition to the top toys of this year, 1993. The top 5 came from MabelandMoxie. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Mabel and
Mabeland
Moxie.
Moxie, and J.C. Penney Catalog Company to Tours R Us. Number one, of course, everyone's favorite back in the day when Home Alone 2 came out was Talk Boy. Number two was an Aladdin handheld game, which, dude, those Tiger games,
Yeah, man.
dude, they're off the wall. Number three
I had an
was
MC Hammer one.
they had an MC Hammer Tiger game.
They sure did. Yeah, I won it at a school contest.
Huh.
I don't remember what you had to do in that game, but it was an MC Hammer Tiger game. Yeah.
I did not know that. That is actually new. Number three was Super Nintendo. Of course, apparently that would have still been popular because back in that day, you know, we didn't have a well, actually, you know, Super Nintendo. It was like every 2 years or something that we'd get a new one. Number four is Jurassic Park, Comrade Compound. And number five is Barney Toys, and of course, miscellaneous. Now, I've always wanted a Talk Boy. I never was able to get a Talk Boy. I never got one for Christmas or birthday. I did, however, have an Aladdin handheld Tiger game and a Super Nintendo. Jurassic Park, never had it, always wanted it. The Super Nintendo, though, now parents are upset with the games that the kids play, rightfully so, this day and age, mainly because, you know, the graphics and stuff. But let me tell you, I did play the crap out of some Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah, man. That was my go-to game at sleepovers.
Was Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat. Yep.
Who is your pick?
I would always pick Sub-Zero.
Okay. Yeah.
Sub-Zero is my guy. But I'm also that guy that plays those games that just repeats the same moves over and over again and tries to get somebody stuck because I'm not good.
Wait,
I'll openly admit.
Were you the swooping leg guy that just the whole time?
No, I was more of an uppercut, jump kick, uppercut. That kind of guy. I would do the sweep to trip him and then uppercut. Sweep, uppercut, jump kick, uppercut. That was my go-to. I wasn't good at like any of the special combos or like that kind of stuff. I think every so often I could get Sub-Zero to throw some ice, you know, at the opponent. And then I would run over to the frozen opponent and uppercut.
Yeah, see, my go-to was Sub-Zero at first. And then I got good at Shang Tsung, except I could never, like, the only person that I would ever be able to like change into is if you hit the block buttons a couple of times, he would change into like one of the ninjas. I can't remember. But first it was Sub-Zero, and then it was Shang Tsung, and then I got really good at Reptile. Like, be able to do the whole like ball coming out to like stun them, the acid spinning, the turning invisible. Yeah, Reptile was my boy.
Nice.
During that time period. Did you ever own the Talk Boy though?
I did not. I did own the Aladdin handheld game. I did own that. I owned the Super Nintendo. That's it out of that list.
All right. Well, that's fair. You want to jumpstart into the music category before we go into one of the closings, before we get to the movies?
Sure. So this is according to Billboard magazine's top 100 songs of 1993. I'm not going to list all 100, but we'll go with 5. Number 1, man, I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. There a lot of memories turn up for me with the 6th grade dance with my very first crush, Amber, to that song, I Will Always Love You. Number 2, Whoop, There It Is by Tag Team. Number 3, man, I can't help but feel like I'm getting into my freaking radio voice here. I went to school for radio broadcasting. Now that I'm like reading out titles of songs and stuff. But number three, we have Can't Help Falling in Love by UB40. Number 4, we got That's the Way Love Goes by Janet Jackson. And number 5, we have Freak Me by Silk. I can't help but think that out of those 5, there is not one rock song on there.
Yeah, that's all like hip hop and art. Just, well, not really hip hop, but like R&B, right? Just
yeah, pop R&B. Yeah. UB40's reggae, pop reggae. But yeah, no no rock, man. No love for the rock and roll in
Uh,
'93.
I will say though, I do love me some Whitney Houston. I will always love you.
Man, I'm a sucker for power ballads. I'm not even gonna front.
Hmm.
Like I love power ballads, and to this day, like if you look at my playlist on my Apple Music account, it would be embarrassing to some, but I love power ballads, man. I'm a sucker for them.
No, I'm right there with you. Like the whole creativity playlist that I have for iTunes, it's nothing but power. Well, there's some early 2000s stuff in there, but a lot of like power ballads are in there too.
Yeah, I'm like my favorite song of all time is Air Supply, "Making Love Out of Nothing at All,"
Okay.
and you can't get more power ballad than that.
Let's see. How about Wherever You Go by The Calling?
By The Calling, yeah, that's actually one of my go-to karaoke songs.
Wait, no, it's not by The Calling. It's by The Wanted. The Wanted.
I don't think I've heard that one. Do you remember when "Whoop There It Is" was like redone for the Addams Family Values end credits?
Yes.
Like that was the cheapest remake ever because they just threw in Addams Family. They're like, "Whoop, the Addams Family, there it is." Like, okay, so that's your like brand new version of the song, just throwing in the Addams Family in between "Whoop" and "There It Is."
So I actually was correct the first time. So that awkward
Okay.
silence was me trying to look for it, and it was actually The Calling. Yes, Wherever
Yeah,
You Go.
yeah. Okay,
Yep.
cool. Yeah, I sing that song at karaoke when I do open mic nights. I play that song. That's a good song as well. It's a
Yeah.
very good song.
I feel like a lot of the 90s had like just power ballads, either one
Oh
hit
yeah.
wonders or power ballads. That's all it
Yeah,
was.
you had your life houses and your callings and all the
Hmm.
really good pop love songs.
Hmm. And I'm a Barbie girl living in a Barbie world because life is plastic and it's
It's fantastic.
fantastic. I mean,
Really is.
all right, so let's go ahead and jump into the movie segments. So with the movies, top grossing movies, it came from thenumbers.com. Some honorable mentions are Aladdin, that came in to number 8. Free Willy was number 10. Groundhog's Day is number 12. Cool Runnings was actually number 16. But the top of the charts for 1 through 5, number 1 was one of my personal favorite. I watched this movie 2 times a day for a week straight. My mom was mad. It was Jurassic Park, and that grossed $338 million. Number 2 is actually a callback from one of our previous episodes, The Fugitive, which grossed 183 million. Number 3 was a Tom Cruise movie, The Firm, 458. Number 4 is Sleepless Sleep. There's that word again, dude. Like literally, last time it was Underdog. Now it's Sleepless in Seattle. That grossed 126 million, and then number 5 was Mrs. Doubtfire that grossed 122.
Some good films in there.
Oh, absolutely. Like I'm telling you, like between the 90s and the 80s, it was just solid films throughout the
Yeah.
whole thing.
I'm
Like,
actually surprised The Fugitive did better than Miss Doubtfire.
yeah,
That's surprising to me. I mean, The Fugitive was great, don't get me wrong, but I didn't see it being bigger than Mrs. Doubtfire. Miss Doubtfire is like a classic. So that's surprising to me, but interesting.
well, it probably is also because of the fact of Rob that Mrs. Doubtfire grew with the years. The Fugitive just kind of fell off
Yeah, that makes sense.
because Mrs. Doubtfire with Robin Williams, which fun fact, apparently there's an NC-17 version of that film because they kind of just let Robin Williams be himself through the sequences and he just was Robin Williams. So language, innuendos, like all that type of stuff was thrown in there. So apparently there's an NC-17 version out there that I would enjoy seeing,
Hmm.
especially to see exactly, what type of phrases he says and what he does would
Oh yeah,
really be humorous, in my opinion.
agreed.
All right. Well, dude, now is you know, I don't know if you need to warm up those pipes, if you need to do any sort of stretching, because right now it's time to do the Sell Me a Movie.
Hello there, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and children.
Let's go for it, man. This will be my first time doing it without a pre-written thing for me to read, so I'm gonna wing it this time.
Okay, fantastic. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you do. Now, did you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first so I can warm up over here.
Okay, that's fair.
All right, ready in 3, 2, 1, go.
Perfect. All right. So for my 3 minutes for the Sell Me a Movie segment, I actually did the movie The Firm. The Firm actually was directed by Sidney Pollack. It's based on a book by John Grisham. And as I previously stated earlier, this was number 3 out of the top 5. It starred Tom Cruise, Gene Hackman, Ed Harris. If you don't remember who Ed Harris is, he played in Apollo 13, The Truman Show, and National Treasure, Book of Secrets. I believe he was the villain in that one. Holly Hunter, Gary Busey is actually in there as well. And Tobin Bell. If you don't recognize who that name is, it's actually Jigsaw from the Saw series, which is really funny because if you want to get a good laugh between what he looks like now versus then, just throw on a blonde wig because it's the most ridiculous thing that you would ever see in that movie. But The Firm is actually really good movie in terms of the type of direction that it went. Tom Cruise is your everyday Joe who, he's actually a waiter who went to school for law firm, and he finally got his break. He finally got that break that he always wanted to do, is be a lawyer to protect what he saw when he was younger, restaurants, of course, getting robbed and everything. So he wanted to protect the innocent, basically. But the question is this, is what if you are that lawyer, you get a job, but then all of a sudden you have these FBI agents following you. You don't know why. They're throwing kind of shade at the business that you're working at. Still don't know why. But what if I told you to add it to it is they tell you that the firm that you're working for is actually owned by the mob? Would you trust them? Would you not trust them? That's exactly what this movie is The Firm is about Tom Cruise being a lawyer in a law firm where it's actually ran by the mob and the FBI is trying to take them down. Not only that, but he actually ends up becoming blackmailed in a way by the firm itself. So now he has 2 different directions. He wants to be free, he wants to be a lawyer, but how are you going to do this? You can either go to the FBI, and at that point, you're no longer a lawyer because you breached a confidentiality, or you continue to work for the mob and they have you right at the grip. They have dirt on you. They had dirt on Tom Cruise's character specifically and his wife. So how do you go and balance between the two? If you're actually wondering exactly how you do that, I would suggest watching the movie. It is a rated R version for in the 1990s, so it may be okay with kids. I'll let you decide, but it is one of those secret gems that you should watch in itself. And that's time.
Nice.
Have you seen it?
I was kind of secretly hoping over here you were keeping track of the time, because I was like, didn't think to check to see when it started. I haven't seen The Firm, actually. No, so those are all type of movies that I usually don't have huge interest in, like drama, courtroom dramas, or like I don't know, like not just courtroom in general, but like very adult drama. I feel like, I don't have a lot of, if it's on TV and I like it catches my interest, I'll watch it. But it's one of those movies that I remember seeing a preview for, and I was just like, I mean, I was in '93, I was 11, so there's no way it kept my interest that would interest me back then. But it's one of those movies I never thought to go back and check out, but it actually sounded interesting when you were talking about it. So may actually check it out.
Well, good. I'm happy that I had that effect.
You may have sold me a movie. Maybe.
Maybe.
Don't want to
Alright.
give you too much credit like I did the first show. And
All right, dude. You ready for your time?
yeah, sure. Let's try it.
All right. So you have a go. And 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello. So the movie that I chose was Mrs. Doubtfire, clearly. And this movie is a classic comedy, good for all ages. And it stars Robin Williams. It stars the guy with the raspy voice from Independence Day, the guy that had to call his lawyer. I don't know his name, but it stars him. It stars Sally Field. It stars one of the Lawrence kids, Joey Lawrence's younger brother, I believe, and it stars the girl from Matilda. And basically, the story is about Robin Williams going through a divorce with Sally Field, and he ends up losing the kids, and he wants to find a way to be able to keep in the kids' lives. So what he does is, since he's not able to spend time with the kids at all, he comes up with a character, and that character is Mrs. Doubtfire. The kids need a new babysitter, so he goes to his, I think it's his brother, which is the man with the raspy voice, and they make him a special mask and outfit to turn him into Mrs. Doubtfire. And it is hilarious. Seeing all, it's one of those movies that has such uncomfortable scenes because you know something that the other main characters don't know. And that's that Robin Williams is Mrs. Doubtfire. So there's so many situations that he gets himself into. He can't let anybody know who he is because the court's not going to let him see his kids. His ex-wife's not going to let him see his kids, but he really wants to be there and spend time with his kids. So he gets into all sorts of crazy situations trying to keep the fact that he is Mrs. Doubtfire away from everyone. There is so many cringy scenes when you watch this movie, hoping he doesn't get caught. Like when he's standing in the bathroom taking a piss and his kid catches him standing up, lifting up his skirt, peeing. It broke my heart. The scene at the restaurant where at the end he's trying to impress his new boss and get a job, and at the same time he's having dinner with his family as Mrs. Doubtfire, and then he starts forgetting certain parts of his makeup and his mask and things like that between the two of them. It's just so horrifying, but it's amazing. It's hilarious and it's funny. It's also heartbreaking. Like there's a scene where when the kids were taken away from Robin Williams and he's crying and breaking down in court, he's one of those actors where he can do comedy, he can do drama, and you can feel so many different things from Robin Williams. And having him in this leading role is fantastic. Oh, also, it does also star Pierce. I can't say his damn name right because every time I get Pierce Brosnan, I think his name is. I always say Brosnan, but it's Brosnan.
And
see the movie. It's a great movie.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, I always say Brosnan, and my ex was always like, "It is Brosnan." I'm like, Brosnan?
Pierce Brosnan.
Brosnan.
Yeah, it's a classic Robin Williams movie. I enjoy it a lot.
It's one. So I read a article recently because it's now a musical on Broadway, and yeah,
okay,
they're making everything into musicals these days. But I read an article recently, going back to our conversation earlier, about like cartoons and like adult themes and stuff like that. Mrs. Doubtfire was basically considered, a family movie when you think about it. Like I went to go see it with my parents as a kid, but now they're going back and saying that it's problematic. It is now a problematic movie within today's society.
How so?
I can see some aspects of it. They're saying like with the trans community and things like that, making it seem like trans is a comedic thing. However, I don't think that is necessarily what they are going for. It's
Yeah.
the comedy comes in to play of this man trying to be somebody else and getting himself into all these situations where he's not able to be himself because the court will not let him see his kids. And then, all the dangerous things that he gets himself into of being caught. It has nothing to do with, trans or the trans community. But again, media is trying to make it a problem where it's not a problem.
Yeah.
So
trying to cause an issue
but-
where the issue's not needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So,
I get it. Like, yeah. But Mrs. Doubtfire will always be a classic to all those who love it, all those who haven't seen it and watch it and enjoy it. See, that's the thing, is anybody who, majority, I can't say everybody, but there's going to be a large majority of people who watch it that will not have that effect.
yeah, including the trans community. I have plenty of trans friends, gay friends, bi friends, straight friends, you name it. Nobody's ever had a problem with Mrs. Doubtfire before.
Exactly.
People are just trying to make it a thing. So media is trying to make it a thing.
Yeah.
That's what they do best.
And with that, everybody, that actually brings this show to a close. This is probably one of the longer episodes, which is, perfectly fine. We try to keep it at about an hour and 15. But at the same time, though, is if we're having fun, we'd like to think that you guys are having fun as well. And that's the whole point, is just having fun with this, making sure you guys are educated, making sure that we're educated with the information that Steven provides us through his extensive research. And again, can't thank him, Justin, you good sir, and Kevin for your guys' hard work in which you have provided for the show in this. And with that, what do you guys think? Do you think The Firm, you'll go see The Firm before Mrs. Doubtfire, or Mrs. Doubtfire before The Firm? It's up to you on what you want to watch. But I mean, hey, it's up to your choice. You leave us a comment below, hit like, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, because new shows every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. in the morning. And again, what year would you like us to discuss? As far as any random years you want, stretching from the 40s all the way to last year, doesn't matter. But again, leave us a comment below, hit like, that subscription, and we hope to see you guys again next week. And with that, you guys have a good night.